Hello, Perkiomen Valley. I'm Laurie Smith, Assistant to the Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction. Today's video is intended to provide you with information about the possibilities for how instruction may occur in the upcoming school year and assist you in completing the parent survey administered on July 20th. Currently, the district is considering three possible models for learning: traditional, hybrid, and virtual. The information provided in this video represents our thoughts as of July 20th, 2020. We recognize that information is rapidly changing, and we will continue to make adjustments and refine our plans based upon new information. Please recognize that what is depicted in this video does not represent any final decisions and is meant more to update you on our current thinking. As mentioned, we've identified three possible models of instruction for the reopening of school in the fall, and recognize that we may have to shift left or right on this spectrum based upon county and/or state health department recommendations. As an overview, the traditional model is the closest to what we know school to look like. Students report to their school building every day. At the other end of the spectrum, virtual learning consists of students learning remotely off-site. They do not report to their school building as part of this approach. In the middle of the spectrum is a hybrid model, which combines aspects of both traditional and virtual. In the hybrid, students are on site in their school building some days of the week and attend remotely other days. This video will provide further details about each model. As we continue to progress through the summer and observe changes in the number of positive cases of COVID-19, there are questions about operating schools in a traditional way. We continue to strive for a traditional return, but recognize that we need to be prepared for other models as we prioritize the health and safety of our students and staff. I'm first going to speak about the two opposite ends of the spectrum, traditional and virtual, and then we'll share details of the hybrid model. The traditional model is the closest to normal operations of school as we can be, with appropriate health and safety measures in place. All students and staff in our schools will be expected to wear masks and practice social distancing. In this model, staff and students return to a normal school day and class schedule. We recognize that some families may not be able to return to a traditional school and instead may need a virtual option. Before I discuss the specifics of the virtual and hybrid models, I'd like to share that we are cognizant of the continued professional development and collaboration needs for our staff in either the virtual or hybrid model, as well as time for necessary meetings. At this time, we are considering, in both models, the possibility of the incorporation of a professional growth day, possibly on Wednesdays, which would allow teachers to collaborate on lesson planning and for additional deep cleaning midweek. The frequency and feasibility of a day such as this is yet to be determined, but please know it is being considered. Additionally, before discussing the virtual and hybrid models, I'd like to define asynchronous and synchronous learning, as these will be a part of both models and referenced in my explanation. Asynchronous learning uses online resources to facilitate learning outside of the constraints of time and place. Synchronous learning involves groups of students engaging in learning at the same time with their teacher using video conferencing software such as Google Meet or Zoom. This learning is real-time and interactive. This slide provides further information about the pros and cons of both asynchronous and synchronous learning, as well as examples. Asynchronous provides flexibility and requires more independence as there is less engagement with the teacher and classmates. Examples include pre-recorded instructional videos, readings, independent application of skills, and project-based learning. Asynchronous learning will be present in varying degrees in both the hybrid and virtual learning models we will present. However, we have greater expectations for rigor and relevance with this type of learning than was present during our spring school closure. Synchronous learning provides for greater engagement with teachers and classmates and opportunities for immediate feedback as it is live instruction. However, it does require a set schedule and technical ease. Synchronous learning is most similar to the lessons your children experience in our classrooms but is delivered virtually. At the other end of the spectrum from traditional is the virtual learning model. This model involves students learning virtually from remote sites. We've learned a lot from our virtual voyage this past spring and saw tremendous growth in our use of modern resources and instructional strategies in a virtual environment. We also identified areas for improvement. All of this feedback has assisted us in developing the virtual model we are proposing called Virtual Voyage 2.0. This model builds upon the spring virtual experiences by increasing face time with teachers, bringing structure to the day, and a return to more normal attendance and grading structures. Guiding principles in the development of virtual schedules in the Virtual Voyage 2.0 model include live instruction from our Perkiomen Valley teachers, opportunities for whole group instruction and small group instruction, including interventions and individual check-ins, a focus on social and emotional well-being of students, and chunking learning time to provide breaks from the screen and transition between content. So what might virtual learning look like at the elementary level? At the elementary level, we have identified blocks of time for each instructional area. This chart represents the number of minutes allotted to each instructional area for synchronous learning. For example, English Language Arts whole group instruction in grade 3 may occur for up to 30 minutes. Just as in the physical classroom, teachers will chunk that block of time to best meet the needs of their learners. Time is built into the schedule for group work led by teachers and paraprofessionals with small groups of students, similar to stations in the physical classroom. Morning meeting time will provide opportunities for check-ins with students and social emotional learning. Specials will continue, as will allotted time for lunch and downtime, which is appropriate for students in this type of learning environment. This chart represents the number of minutes allotted to each instructional area and does not depict an actual student day. Each grade level would have different times for each area noted. What might it look like at the secondary level? Our principals have developed a virtual schedule similar to our schedule when in school, with each period having an identified time to meet synchronously. The secondary school sample schedule follows the typical school schedule, but with 35-minute classes as part of the synchronous schedule. Secondary schedules will also include at least a weekly time identified for social and emotional check-ins and opportunities for individual support or small group instruction. You will also notice approximately 20 minutes of transition time between the 35-minute classes. You may be wondering how the Virtual Voyage 2.0 compares to cyber charter schools or even our own cyber program, PV Virtual. This graphic represents similarities and differences between these instructional deliveries. As explained, our Virtual Voyage 2.0 will provide live learning to our students by our own PV teachers. PV Virtual is our district-operated cyber school. PV Virtual is a fully virtual experience for enrolled Perkiomen Valley students in which students work in an online course platform to complete classwork. PV Virtual teachers are not PVSD teachers. The majority of coursework is asynchronous, meaning independent and self-paced. Lastly, there is the cyber charter school option. While similar to PV Virtual, families selecting this option withdraw from Perkiomen Valley to enroll in their chosen cyber charter school, which is a separate and different public school from PVSD. Cyber charter schools are not overseen by PVSD and continue to provide mainly asynchronous learning. Let's move to the final mode of instruction, the hybrid model. This model includes students participating on-site and from a remote site. In the hybrid model, half of the students attend on some days at the school, while the other half of students work virtually, then switch locations throughout the week. The hybrid model is a combination of both traditional, but in smaller groups, and virtual learning. Perkiomen Valley is considering two formats for instruction on virtual days in the hybrid model. One format involves video conferencing, where the group of students at home join the live instruction via video conferencing software such as Google Meet or Zoom. Those students participate in the live lesson even though they are at home. This format requires some technology hardware and software and the ability to manage both a virtual group and a live group at the same time. However, all students are receiving the same instruction and activities at the same time. The other format is a flipped classroom model. While we continue to investigate the feasibility of the video conferencing format, at this time we are recommending the flipped classroom model. In this model, when students are in person with the teacher for 2 to 3 days a week, they participate in group discussion, guided practice. They work collaboratively and receive direct instruction as needed. On the 2 to 3 virtual days, students work asynchronously on activities and learning provided by the teacher. These could include videos, readings, projects, and application of learning. The curriculum continues to progress even while students are not in person. The schedule in a hybrid model depicts 2 groups of students. We are still investigating how to split students into these 2 groups, possibly by last name or by transportation zone, similar to kindergarten scheduling. When students are in school, they follow their normal schedule. This mode reduces the number of students physically present on any given day. Elementary and secondary schedules look identical except for the times of the student day. Let's quickly revisit the difference between asynchronous and synchronous in our hybrid and virtual modes. In the hybrid model, students will participate in asynchronous activities 2 to 3 days per week while they are off-site, and 2 to 3 days of synchronous learning in person while in school buildings. The actual number of days for each will be dependent upon the existence and frequency of a professional learning day for teachers. Our fully virtual model, Virtual Voyage 2.0, includes a maximum of 1 day of asynchronous activities, again dependent on the professional learning day, and 4 synchronous virtual days. Virtual Voyage 2.0 closely mirrors our traditional model of learning, but in a remote environment. In closure, we are considering 3 models of learning for the reopening of school this fall. It may be necessary to transition from one model to another at various points in the school year based upon updates regarding COVID-19. Hopefully you feel a bit more informed about our current thinking regarding instructional models for the reopening of schools this fall. Now we'd like to know what you're thinking. Please take time to complete the survey that you've recently received. And stay tuned to the district website and communications for updates about our reopening plans. As always, we encourage your participation in our school board meetings and want to hear your thoughts. We hope you and your family are remaining healthy and know that together we will do what is best for our students. Thank you for watching.